Alright guys, so I decided to do a budget video, aka how to not be broke. Now, I did this video just for the purpose of an example. I decided to use round numbers, so I did take-home pay on an annual basis of $50,000 after taxes, which equates, well, a little bit less than that, because I did $4,000 take home per month, just to make it nice and easy round numbers. If you're not making that much per year, or you're not taking home $4,000 a month, don't be upset, don't be sad. Especially if you're watching these videos, you most likely will. You know, you make more money as you get older. If you're making more than $50,000 take home a year, good job. Keep saving, save more. You know, this should be a lot higher if you're doing that. Unfortunately, people tend to increase their spending with their increase in income. But let's get into the budget. So I've put charity and saving as the top two categories at the top. The reason is that's very important to me. I think it's my humble opinion that we should all give back, and my percentage for charity is based on biblical principles of tithing. If you're not a Christian, you know, whatever, give to whatever you want. But I think giving money is very important, and I also think that it not only does it help others, but it feels good. It almost sounds selfish, but giving really does make you feel wonderful. Saving. 10% is the absolute minimum. I think you should all be saving more than 10% of your income, of your take-home pay, absolutely. But 10% is a minimum. And so, based on these numbers, you know, 400. Rent and utilities. Now, 35% is high. That's actually really high. You know, most professionals would tell you that you shouldn't spend more than 30%, you know, between 25 and 30%. You know, a lot of people would say closer to 25. Unfortunately, rent has gotten crazy. You know, it's incredibly expensive to rent, especially in kind of hot and popping in urban environments across the country. So, you know, happiness and mental health is most important. So don't slum it just to meet the numbers, but, you know, please don't go over 35% for rent and utilities. Next we have gas and car. Now, 15% is pretty high. It's actually really high. If you don't have a car payment, this should obviously be a lot lower. With that said, a great strategy, if you do not have a car payment, if you're not leasing a vehicle, or if you've not done an auto loan and you're paying off a vehicle, if your only expense is really gas, I highly recommend you to kind of allocate more to your vehicle for maintenance, new tires, oil change. You know, budget that in, and also for when you need a new vehicle. You know, your car might unexpectedly break down, you know, or just the time comes for a new car. It's much better if you've budgeted that in and saved for those expenses, rather than just saying one day, oh no, I need a new car, like what am I going to do? So budget that in, and that's why I've put 15% there. If you do have a lease or a car payment, that's okay. A lot of people do, but I mean, come on guys, don't spend just an absurd amount of money on a car. You know, same for the house thing, like, you know, if you're spending 50% of your income on, well, that's what this is. That's high, but if you're spending more than 50% of your income on where you live and what car you drive, I mean, I don't want to cast judgment, but probably not a good idea. And if you're worried about what some girl or some guy is going to think about you because you don't drive the nicest car, or you don't live in the coolest, hippest place, like, probably don't want to be with that person anyways. Alright, food and supplies. So this is pretty low, but I think it's manageable, especially for a single person. But 10%, so that's about $100 a week on groceries and things like razor blades or shampoo or deodorant, etc. I think that's manageable. $100 a week is good. Spendable. So this is going out to eat, going on dates, going to the amusement park, whatever. About $100 a week. That's once again a little low, but if you can try to stick to these, I think it might be difficult to do over time, but it's a habit that you can get yourself into, and it'll get easier. Like, you don't need to buy the most expensive X or Y or Z, but budgeting, especially in the grocery store, is good also for your health. Don't just go and throw a bunch of stuff in the cart and spend whatever. I mean, do that if you want, but make sure you're tracking your grocery habits. That adds up very quickly, I'm telling you. Travel fund. Some of you might not think travel's important. We're all different. I love to travel. So I've built in a travel budget for myself. You might want to take this money and maybe you're like, you know what, I don't really care about traveling that much. I want to go out every weekend and have a good time with my friends. I want season tickets for this or that. That's fine. We're all different. Take that 10% and put it into one of these other categories. Totally fine. This is just, these percentages, this is close to what I started off with. This was a lot lower for me, and this was a lot lower for me. And anything, any of these numbers that you can reduce, instead of putting, say that you don't want to travel, instead of putting that 10% in spendable or food and supplies or gas and car rent, move all that stuff to saving. Try to get this number as high as you possibly can. If you don't want to travel, totally fine, but take that 10% and put it there. So I think obviously everyone's budget's going to be a little bit different. I get it. I think these percentages are healthy. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend spending 35% on rent and utilities or 15% on gas and car. This is kind of like, I think, the absolute top. Don't go over that. But yeah, there's a budget. Reach out to me if you have questions. And I'm thinking about, I haven't decided this yet because I think there's probably a ton of tools out there, but I'm certainly going to, at least, at minimum, post either a Google Sheet or an Excel doc of kind of the template of budget, of a budget that I've used over the years. I go in there regularly and make sure that I'm on track. I'm thinking about also creating a simple app for that. There's probably tons of budget apps out there. I don't know, I haven't really checked. I've always used Excel. But I'm thinking about just making a simple one for people to, just plug this stuff in, adjust these numbers, put your take home in, and kind of play around. So anyways, I hope this helps. If not, I'm sorry to have wasted your time, but hopefully you got something out of this, and hopefully I didn't offend anyone too badly. But this is how to not be broke.